Hi guys. Okay, so if you're watching this video, that means that you are contemplating going to visit South Lake Pain Institute with Dr. Paez and Dr. Serenita and Lori is an assistant there, and then their big staff. So, well, I'm making this video. I really prayed about this video, and I really just feel the need that this video needs to be out there. I think people need to be aware and people need to be informed. To tell you a little bit about myself, really quick in a nutshell so you understand, we all know that and if you're also going to South Lake Pain Institute, you're going there because you know that this is a pain institution that is supposed to help you with pain if you're suffering with pain or several conditions and stuff like that. So that's basically what you go there for, like injuries, sport injuries, accidents, and people end up going there for medication or some kind of remedy to bring you some kind of relief to your pain and whatever it is you're going through. I actually was referred to him by another doctor. I had to find a pain doctor, and I just kind of found him. In the beginning, I did do research, and he had a couple of bad reviews, but most doctors, when you search them, they have good and bad reviews, and you always can't rely on that, but putting a review on Google or whatever I don't really always pay attention all the time to that, but I figured the video, if you see a video, then you know there's something up. So that's why I wanted to go this route. And I'm not telling you not to go to the facility. I will leave that entirely up to you. This is not to bash them. This video is basically to kind of share with you guys my personal experience there at South Lake Institute and what you may or may not experience there. But basically, in the short story, I have RA. I've had rheumatoid arthritis for 7 years. In addition, I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia, degenerative disc disease. I always have trouble saying that word, which is in my hips, my spine, which is my L3, L4, and L5, and I also have bulging disc. I know it's a lot of stuff, but rheumatoid arthritis, which is a very debilitating disease, it really eats at your muscles and your joints, and there's a lot of inflammation. And if you have a lot of inflammation in your body, it will wreak havoc in your body in other ways. So that's why the illness is so bad, I think. And I'm going to school for nursing, so I do know some things about the medical field, and I also am a phlebotomist. I've been a phlebotomist. If you don't know what a phlebotomist is, I draw blood for a living. I've been doing that for about 11 or 12 years now. I took a break because I'm going to school full time. So currently I'm not a phlebotomist right now, but I love the field. I've always been a great phlebotomist, so I just love it. But anyway, I ended up going there because as years progress for me with rheumatoid arthritis, you get worse. So my numbers are very, very, very high. An average person diagnosed with RA, your blood test should range between 1 to 15 to be diagnosed and told you have rheumatoid arthritis. Well, my numbers are up in the 300s. So I suffered an accident. I had an open fracture here. Basically, my radial bone came out. Radial bone cracked, and it came out through here, if you can see that incision. So, yeah, it was a really bad break. And I had to get pins and needles, and I had a plate and pins and all that put into my hand to kind of, so that it could heal and I could have use of my hand. So I thank God for that, because if they wouldn't have done that, I probably wouldn't have been able to use my hand, and I'm a righty. So it was my right hand that I've shattered really badly. So I've been going through a lot with RA. So I live in pain every day. People that have RA, they suffer from pain, and it's just really a terrible lifestyle. But it really is what you make of it. So if you're active and you don't get caught up in the sickness and let the sickness become you, then you can still have some type of quality of life. And that's the route that I took. I just don't want to be bedridden in bed and stuff like that. So my route was to go to South Lake Pain Institute to get some help and get some pain medicine, and not even really pain meds. I take that back. I didn't go with the intentions on getting pain meds. I went with the intentions to see what we could do naturally to help me out, because I know there's some doctors that do like organic things or holistic things or natural ways to heal the body. It's what I really originally wanted to do. But, of course, I always knew that I would probably end up getting some pain meds to get me by until I could get through this flare-up or whatever it is. Because with RA, you have flare-ups every so often. Because if your body inflames, your flare-up, your muscle in your joints get inflamed, then that causes a flare up, and sometimes you can't walk, or you can be out for 5 days or longer. It's just miserable. So, but I believe in God, and I serve a good God, and I know He's going to heal me. And I'm Christian. I go to church, so I have a good solid foundation to help me with that stuff. But my point of making this video was because I had been seeing Dr.paez for 2 years. And I remember when I first met him, he's a very young doctor. And he apparently is very into the health thing too, and active, and does sports. And so you would think that he would want what's best for you, the patient. But I remember when I first met him, he was very kind of serious. Like, he's not very, I don't know if it's just a stigma with the pain doctors. They just assume that maybe you are either a drug addict or you're coming in with some not serious illness. I mean, I think that's the way they think first off the back. Like, they're trying to see if you're there just to get to score drugs or if you genuinely, seriously have a condition. So I do have a condition. I have had it for a long time, but he never really made time to talk with my primary physicians or my rheumatologist or my spine doctor. Nobody. Like, they don't communicate. And I'll tell you that later because I found this out just recently. So, okay, going back to the first day when I met him, he wasn't that nice. He was kind of serious. I didn't really know what to think about Dr.paez, but I just thought, okay, it's probably the whole trying to figure out what I'm really there for. So since it's been 2 years, I don't remember what he first put me on. I'm thinking, actually, I believe he put me on oxycodone, a Percocet, which I ended up getting oxycodone because that's the pharmacist gives you like the generic thing. Sorry, my nose is a little itchy. So I got that, and that gives you like a temporary relief. That the oxycodone and the hydrocodone and the Percocet, they all have like a 6-hour release. Like it gives you relief for 6 hours, and then you have no pain. And it kind of gives you like a mild little, if I'm just being real, like a little mild high. I mean, what narcotic medication doesn't? I mean, most of them do. That's what it does. I didn't personally like that, but I was in so much pain that I just needed something so I could just rest for a couple hours, I could do things for my kids because I have 4 kids. I have 4 daughters, and I'm married. So, and I said go to school full time. So I'm doing things, I just wanted to be able to get a part of my life back. So he started me right away with that. I'm trying to think what else he gave me because I think, I can't remember off the top of my head, but my point in that is saying that that's what I got was opiates right off the back. And I did ask him for natural stuff, but he really didn't get into anything that I could do naturally other than offering me some procedures that he does that required them to do to sedate you and then inject like a needle in your spine because he believes that my pain and my hip and all that stuff is related to my spine. And yes, sometimes it is, but the fact that I have RA is a big contribution to all the pain all over my body and my joints. So I didn't really feel the need to have to do that. I didn't feel like that putting a needle in my back was going to be, I just don't like foreign objects in my back. Like if I'm already sick, I don't want to make it worse, So, but this is a big thing that they try to sell there. That plus they also do I believe a stem cell replacement where they actually take, and I know this only from being a phlebotomist, where they take your plasma and they'll take a red top tube and they'll draw your blood and they'll spin it down and they'll take the serum out and they'll take the plasma from the blood and inject it into whatever area your cells basically would rejuvenate and then kind of, bind together or something like that. And it's supposed to help and kind of renew your knee, or if you do it on your shoulder, or if you do it on your hip, or if you do it on your back, that's what that's for. So he does that too. And that's really expensive because insurance doesn't take that. Insurance will not cover that. So you will be paying out of pocket. And those can range anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000 just to do one. And you have to do several. It's not just one tube. You'll be doing several tubes and it takes a while to do it. And honestly, there's no proven hard theory that says that works 100%. I don't know. But that's a new thing that they do. And he's not the only doctor that does it. I worked for another physician here in Davenport. And he was getting into that too. I will tell you, there is a lot of money to be made in that. Doctors capitalize big time on that. Only reason I'm familiar with that was because I was a phlebotomist at the other place where I worked. I had to draw the tubes and I had to spin them down and remove the plasma and then give it to the physician. And they would inject the plasma into the knee and that would rejuvenate your cells. And then, so it's called stem cell rejuvenation. When I tell you that there is so much money to be made in this, you're going to be flabbergasted. You're going to be shocked and dumbfounded. It's big. Like, he could live off that alone without even being the doctor. So there's money to be made on that. So when people start, and another thing is that insurances aren't taking it because there isn't enough evidence showing that that even does work. But that's a whole different thing. So I didn't know he did that until I actually witnessed a patient that was there that was paying cash out of pocket. I couldn't even imagine. She was just counting 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. I was like, what? Yeah, and that's money that he gets to keep. He gives a percentage to the drug rep that brought it into his business to recommend this anyway. But that's what it is. And if you don't know what drug reps are, drug reps, they come into these facilities. They offer, you can come in. They come into these offices and they offer them. My nose is bothering me, so I'm so sorry. They come in and they offer these newfound drugs, and they buy the doctor's dinner, and they sweet talk them to get them to advertise this new medication or this new whatever. And that's where the stem cell replacement thing, that's where that comes from. So he's doing that too. I'm not saying that he's doing anything bad. I'm just saying there's not enough evidence to prove that that even works. So you may be wasting your money, in my personal opinion. Do your research before you get involved with that. But anyway, after the oxycodone he gave me, I wasn't getting better. So I know I was complaining and I had to go in. Because I even think at one point he wasn't willing to give me anything. Like, who goes to a pain doctor and he's hesitant? Because I think, honestly, he kind of probably prejudged me and thought that maybe I had some kind of addiction, which is far from the truth. I am all natural. I want to do things naturally. I mean, I go to church. I believe in God. I'm Christian. I have a family. Like, I don't want to be high and on medications that are going to mess me up. So anyway, that's how I got introduced to methadone. He gave me a prescription for methadone. And I didn't really know anything about it. I never even heard of it. I didn't know what methadone was until I met Dr.paez, until I went to Salt Lake Pain Institute. So anyway, thinking that he had my well-being, my interest, my best interest at hand, I just kind of like asked him if it was, what was the medicine like? Was there any side effects? And he said, no, you'll be fine. I give you a little dose. You'll be good. No problem. So I really took his word to be solid. I figured, great. Okay, I'm finally going to, maybe I'll try this and see how it works. Well, when you get methadone, it's very difficult to fill that prescription because, and I didn't know why, but I went to Walgreens, CVS, Walmart, Publix, and when they're out of stock, and they will not tell you if there's a refill because apparently people act out on this medication. So that had me a little worried, but I moved forward. Stupid me, but I moved forward with taking it. I really, really believed. And even my husband thought that, maybe this was going to be a good thing. But I can tell you now that it was one of the worst things I had ever taken in my entire life. And that's why I'm making this video, because I just don't think that physicians should be giving this out to anybody. I don't even think it should be allowed. This stuff shouldn't even be here. And if they're going to give it to somebody, who would I say would benefit the most from something like this?
A heroin addict.
Heroin addict, but okay, but maybe somebody with MS? Maybe somebody who's dying, somebody who is at their last cycle of life. They can't move anywhere from here down. Maybe because of being paralyzed, the pain is so excruciating that their mind isn't at peace. Paraplegics. Okay, maybe people like that may benefit from it. Because I'm not going to lie, when I got on the medicine, I did get a lot of my quality of life back. Meaning I was able to do a lot of stuff. I was feeling normal, so I was able to sleep, which is a key thing for me, because when you can't sleep, it's like major sleep deprivation. It's to a level like I don't know if you guys know, but some countries use this as a torturing method. That's how much lack of sleep affects you. If you don't get sleep, 8 hours at that, it can eventually kill you. You'll get sick. You'll start to get other problems, and it's going to affect your body big time. So I was desperate. I wanted to have a restful night, So when I got on the methadone, I was able to sleep. So I did see some good results, right? But it's very short. When I tell you it's so short-lived, it's so short-lived. You feel good for a little bit and it's temporary, because what the medication does is it creates new problems. To give you a few examples, you can get heart conditions, high blood pressure, anxiety, panic attacks. You start to feel fearful, and gastrointestinal issues. The list is like endless, seriously. There's a lot of stuff that can go wrong with and this is just long exposure to this medication. So, to say the least, I was on this medication for almost 2 years. which is a very long time. And what I noticed in those 2 years was that I was actually getting sick. I had panic attacks. I never suffered from panic attacks. I didn't even know what that was like. People would tell me, and I'd be like, oh God. You know, I used to always think like, wow, that's terrible. I was getting them very badly. As a matter of fact, I remember going to New York, and I wouldn't even board a train because I panicked because of all the people. I wouldn't get in elevators. Anxiety was just this anxious feeling of like something was going to go wrong or something. It was terrible. My blood pressure I had high blood pressure. I ended up in the hospital a dozen times or more in the 2 years that I was on methadone. And by the way, I forgot to mention, I was taking 5 milligrams. I was supposed to take them twice a day is what the prescription was. Originally, he had me every 8 hours to take the methadone, 5 milligrams. So how many 8 hours are there in a day? 24 hours? Okay. So 4 times, that would have been 20 milligrams a day. Times that by a week. That's 100 milligrams a week. I didn't take it. I don't know if it was the Spirit of God. I don't know if it was just God having my back. I know it was. Actually, I take that back. It was God, because he knew where I was going to be. He knew what the end of the story was going to be, and God was breaking me from those things. He was making a way when I didn't even know it. What a good God we serve, right? Like, think about that. He knew the story before I even knew it. He knew the outcome, and he was already preparing the way so that I wouldn't have to suffer. I don't know, but I only ended up taking this stuff one time a night because I ended up, since I was getting rejected at so many places and rightfully treated like crap, like pharmacists were treating me badly, and I think, what the heck? Why are these pharmacists acting like this? And I had to do research, and I found out that people get crazy on methadone, and they, when it's not available, they freak out. And this is all part of the withdrawal system, the syndrome of withdrawal. That is part of the reason why I made this video, because I wanted you guys to know what I went through, what I suffered to, and needlessly, I suffered at the hands of my doctor, right? Because who goes to their doctor to suffer? That's not their job. Their job is to get you better. Their job is to help you get better, not to get worse. I mean, and so that's what the video is mainly about. And also, I'm going to talk about how to detox from the methadone too, you know, because you need to know that. But so basically, when I started to have those issues with the pharmacist, I decided, I got to find out what's going on here. Did my research, found out that they will not, listen, a pharmacist will not tell you if they have methadone on site. They won't give you that information. You've got to build a relationship with them. They won't even throw it out there. As a matter of fact, they'll tell you to come. And if you have to drive out and if they don't have it, then you'll have to go to another Walgreens and the next and the next and the next until you find a place that has the prescription that can fill it for you. They won't give it out because it's that dangerous. Does that not say something? Why are doctors giving this stuff out with all of the stuff that goes with this? And they're not telling the patients, because I got to be honest, Dr. Paez never told me that. He told me I didn't have nothing to worry about. He said, you were fine. You don't got to worry. You're going to be okay. But that was so far from the truth. It wasn't even funny. It was such a big lie. It was the biggest lie. And I did feel I feel like a victim. I know that sounds a little extreme, but I do. I feel like he did the worst thing to me, because I have a family, and I told him that I have kids. You know, I don't want to be on strong things. And I had already stressed that from the very beginning to him. So I don't know why he gave that. I don't know what the agenda is behind it. I can only assume that, and speaking of drug reps, that there is a lot of money to be made on this medication, because when I'll get to the point of when I got off of it, I'm currently going through detox now. And I had to go see him to kind of see if he would help me. And I'll tell you about that. But he was very disappointing. And I was really shocked at how he treated me. You know, it's just crazy, you know, but I'll tell you that in a minute. But anyway, I was on the medicine for 2 years. Like I said, I got my quality of life back, so that was great. But then I noticed that my life was changing. My family was complaining. I was moody. I was very aggressive with my family, which is not like me. I'm all about walking in love. You know, I'm Spanish from New York, and I have an attitude, but it was worse. And I didn't realize that, because when you're on the medication, those things you don't even think about that, because you're high. And it's weird because it doesn't give you a high feeling like that, you know? But basically, methadone, when you're taking the methadone, it takes 30 minutes for it to react in your system. So it will go into your bloodstream, and where it ultimately ends up is in your brain. Most of the methadone accumulates in your brain. So, didn't even know that. Can you imagine? I took it for 2 years. I don't even know what kind of damage. And I will tell you that I do have something in the back of my, right here in the back, lower back of my skull. And I had to get an MRI because was suffering from severe headaches, which I've never had either. But it was like my migraines. My primary doctor sent me to get a CT scan, and they found something. And stupid me, I put it off because I'm a little claustrophobic and don't like going into MRIs, and I have to do the one that your whole body goes in. I did an open MRI, but that picked up the problem, but I have to do a deeper one so they can see how big it is, what it is, if it's cancer, if it's not. I didn't do any of that crazy, right? That I haven't even done that. I'm just scared. I need to pray about that because I need to conquer that, and I need to go. I'm actually going to go see my doctor this week and talk about having to get rescanned again. So anyway, I've been dealing with that. And then also I said that I was in the hospital over 12 times. So it also gives you heart issues. It gives you heart conditions. Never suffered from heart conditions ever in my life. And now I was being seen in the hospital for heart things, you know. I spent so much money going to the doctor, it's not even funny. I see a cardiologist, I see a rheumatologist, I see my primary, I see a spine doctor. They even wanted to send me to go see a psychiatrist because of all the anxiety. Really? All of this was being contributed to the methadone, and you're never going to connect the dots because not even the physicians at the hospital could connect the dots. Can you imagine? These are professionals, and they couldn't realize in me rendering what medications I was on that they couldn't connect the dots and say, oh, you're not having a heart attack, Mrs. Rodriguez. This is the methadone, and because maybe you missed a dose, because that's the other thing with methadone, you can't miss a dose. If you miss, you're supposed to take it every 8 hours. I wasn't. I was taking it only once at night. So I don't know if that, because I was doing my own thing, which was against what they had wanted me to do. Had I done what they wanted me to do, I would be so screwed right now. I would have been far worse than ever. So I only took it at night to help me sleep because I didn't see the need of being on that all day long. So with that, I started to get withdrawal symptoms. That everything I'm telling you is withdrawal symptoms. But I didn't know this because I didn't know that methadone was this bad. So, and neither did the physicians at the hospitals ever connect the dots either, which is very disappointing. I don't even know why we have doctors. Seriously, I don't understand why we even have doctors. You go to one doctor, you present a problem, they send you to another specialist. That specialist sends you to another specialist. That specialist sends you to another. It's crazy. I want to go into nursing because I want to make a difference. I want to bring God into the medical fields. I want to set people free in the medical field. Whatever. I don't know. But anyway, so I decided in talking to my husband, and we start thinking maybe it's the medicine. So I tried to get myself off of the medicine, and this goes into currently now, the present. Has it been 2 weeks or 3 weeks now? It's been almost 3 weeks now that I've been going through the whole detox system. So when you detox, it is the most horrific experience I have ever been through in my entire life. Because, which brings me to my next thought of why he would have ever considered putting me on that, knowing that I have rheumatoid arthritis, knowing that I have fibromyalgia. Because guess what methadone does? When you withdraw from methadones, it gives you extreme, when I'm talking, if there was a level from 1 to 100, it would be 100. Extreme muscle pain. Extreme, you ever had restless leg syndrome? If you have, it's terrible. It is complete restless body syndrome, is what many people refer to it. I definitely refer to it to that. You can't lay down. You can't sit for long. You're fidgety. You get night sweats. You start getting anxiety attacks. You literally get consumed with fear, panic attacks. I was moving my bowels a lot, actually. I didn't get diarrhea, but I think it's because I was taking the oxycodone, and that causes constipation. And I think because my body was having both medicines, that I didn't have diarrhea. I was just releasing a lot of my bowels. So I think that if you're just strictly on methadone, then you're probably going to get diarrhea and you can get dehydrated. So you need to be careful. But anyway, it was really crazy. So I got really scared and I was really nervous. And I couldn't sleep and I cried. I'm not a crier. My husband can tell you I don't cry. Do I cry? No. I barely cry for anything. And I was crying. Oh my God, it felt like forever, but I cried for 2 weeks straight. And don't Google, by the way. Stay away from Google because Google will just set your fears on, it's like red alert. Like, it will just, you're going to start thinking the worst things, and you're going to freak out even more. So, not to get wholly religious on anybody, but I really dove into my Bible. I really dove into God's presence. I listened to worship music. That's what you hear in the background. I was digesting everything Jesus, everything God, because I felt like that was my way to get through this. And it really worked. I know people think, oh, whatever, God's not real. God is real. He helped me get through it. And it came to a point where I just forgot to take my methadone, because how I decided to do it, and I'm not recommending that you do this because everybody's body's different, so you may have a reaction. Ultimately, going cold turkey they recommend against that. So going cold turkey is bad, because you're going to be overwhelmed with all the withdrawal symptoms, and you could definitely end up in the hospital, and something bad can happen. I'm keeping it real. Something bad could really happen. You need a good family support. I had my husband, I had my kids, I had Christian friends praying for me, I had pastors praying for me. I was reaching out to everybody, because God kept telling me, I wanted to keep it a secret. I didn't want anybody to know I was on methadone, because I was afraid of being judged. Oh my God, you're on methadone, blah, blah, blah. But I really felt like God was speaking to my heart, like, you need to be transparent. You need to just tell somebody, because if you don't speak up, you're not going to get help. And I'm glad I did. I spoke to a lot of friends, and of course, I'm sure my husband kind of maybe told somebody too, and I'm glad they did, because people were able to pray for me and stand in agreement, and I'm where I am today. I'm not, by any means, I haven't finished the withdrawal, but I'm almost done. So, and I really cannot express to you so much more that really God is the center of all this. He can help you get through this. So really keep that in mind. But anyway, going back to the withdrawals, it was really, really terrible. The first 4 days, how I did it was because I was taking 5 milligrams every day at night. So I took 5 milligrams every night. So times that by 7 nights, that's 35 milligrams a week. Times that by 4 weeks, that's what? Let's do the math. Why not? Because I was kind of curious myself about that. Where's my calculator? Where's the calculators on these Note 5s, Greg? Oh, God.
Why would you edit that?
No, well, it's okay. I'm just being me. I can't find my calculator. Oh, here it is. Okay, so if I'm taking 5 milligrams a day, that's 5 times 7 is 35. You times that, that's weekly. Times that by 4, that's 140 milligrams a month. Times that by 12. On a yearly basis, I'm taking 1,680 milligrams in a year. Times that by 2 years. In my system, I have 3,360 milligrams worth of methadone in my body that I have to get out of my system. That is now nestled in my brain, resting in my bones, in my bloodstream, and it's inside. I mean, I don't even know, but I was trying to think of a way to flush it out. Like, I've never done, by the way, I need to mention this. I don't do drugs. Never did. I don't know what it's like to take drugs. I've never done that. It wasn't my thing. Praise God that I didn't have a habit. I'm not knocking anybody down that has a habit, because you can be freed from that. I believe that. But I didn't have an addiction like that. This addiction, actually, I have an addiction now, but it was something that my doctor brought into my life. So this is why I'm making the video, because I think you need to consider that. You need to consider when you go see your doctor, do research. Find out if he's really there for you and for your well-being, or is he there to capitalize on your health? Meaning, is he benefiting of you being sick? Is he making money off of you because somehow maybe methadone brings in some, I don't know, extra money for them through the drug reps? And trust me, I've seen it all. I've worked in doctor's offices. I've worked in the hospitals. I've been exposed to the medical field. And unfortunately, it can be a little corrupt. And these doctors are easily brought by these commissions that they're offered to them for these medications. So you have to think about those things. If he has a lot of bad ratings, take that into consideration. I didn't. And look what happened to me. I mean, it was, again, terrible coming off this stuff. And I don't want anybody to go through that. And so that's the whole purpose of this video. Whether you go to South Lake Pain Institute or whether you go to any pain doctor, you have to think about these things. They're not going to tell you what's good for you unless you go to a completely holistic physician. And that's one that operates with vitamins, minerals, oils. And I almost think that they're better To be honest, I think I should have probably went that route, but I didn't, and that's okay. And hopefully I'm going to be done with this. But let me get back to the tapering down, because that's really important. Since I was taking the 5 milligrams every day, I figured, I don't know, I just felt like, okay, I'm just going to take one day and take one not the next day. And the day that I don't take it, if I was in a lot of pain, because I already had suffered 2 days with those withdrawals, and I was panicking, thinking, I don't want to go to this. Like, and the stories are real. They're like so much worse than what I'm telling you. That's why I'm telling you, avoid the internet, because it's really gonna scare the crap out of you. So, I did that for the first. Did we do that for the first 7 days? Strictly the first 7 days, I took Percocet, because look at how this is. It's so crazy. I gotta give, and I'm not saying that God's about drugs, but the way everything fell into place was crazy. I actually, when I was taking the oxycodone, he was giving me scripts. This is how stupid they are too. I hate to say this, but this is a very controlled environment and in reference to opiates and your prescription. So when you're given a prescription, you should fill it out and use the medication. But I was not wanting to be high all the time. So I would fill my scripts for the Percocets and the oxycodone, and then I would keep them. And I actually built up a stash unintentionally. I didn't mean to, but what was I going to do? I paid for them. I just kept them. So, and I'm glad that I did, because now I'll tell you why. Because he didn't want to help me at the end. He didn't help me to do any detoxing at all. He didn't recommend, he didn't offer nothing, which is horrifying that my own doctor would do such a thing. But this is how he is. So anyway, because I had that stash, I was able to take a Percocet on the day that I wasn't taking the methadone, because I was so scared from the withdrawal was just terrible. So that helped me. I'm not telling you to take oxycodone. I'm just telling you talk to your doctor. Ask them what it is you can do to get on something to help with the pain. The other thing that I had access to, I had muscle relaxers. And I wasn't big on that either, because I didn't like how I felt on that. So I strictly stuck to the Percocet. So it was methadone one day, Percocet the next day, methadone the next, and the next. And I did that straight for 5 to 7 days. Then I started cutting the 5 milligram in half. And so I took 2.5 milligrams. And then the more stories I was reading about all these horrible and seeing videos of people going through these little withdrawal binges, and it was just terrible. I just said, I'm not taking it no more. I just didn't want it, because I was afraid that every time I took it, I was pushing myself back, and I was going to have worse withdrawal symptoms. And they say that it happens because it gets so bad that you panic and you want to take it, and you literally do. You're like, where's my medicine? I got to take it, and you're shaking like you're fiending for something. Like you shot yourself with heroin. That's how legit this stuff is. Like, this crazy. And my husband was like, why are you shaking? I'm like, I don't know. It's the only thing that feels good right now. And I would try to rock myself to sleep, but I couldn't sleep. And I was only on like 4, maybe 3 hours sleep. And I have daughters. I mean, I have things to do. I have places to be. I had physical therapy. I had to feed my kids. Thank God it was summer term, so they didn't have school. But had this happen at school, I had to still get up and help my husband take him to school and stuff. You know, life goes on. Life doesn't stop for a withdrawal or detox. So it's terrible. I mean, it's really, really terrible. It's from the devil is what I say. But anyway, it came to a point where I just forgot to take my medicine. And the next thing I knew, and again, I was diving into my Bible, praying, crying out to Jesus, crying out to God, telling him to please help me get through this. And he did, because we were having dinner a couple days ago, and in conversation, we were talking about, my husband was asking me how I was doing, and I said, oh my God, I said, I didn't take any methadone. And it was already day 3. Day 3 is supposed to be the worst day of all of them. Day 1 and 2 is bad, but they say day 3 is like so bad. Every video I saw, day 3. And it can last up to 2 weeks. I don't even know what day I'm on. I think I'm on day 7, right? Day 7 or 8, roughly.
7 or 8.
Maybe even 8. Maybe it's last week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Yeah, it's day 7. I haven't taken any methadone, but I'm still taking the Percocet. And I have to, because when I went to go see Dr.paez, going back to South Lake Pain Institute, I forgot to mention that when I was going through the withdrawal, I called the office because I was freaking out. Like, do they know that this happened? Since they never told me about it, I thought they didn't know. But stupid me, because they all knew. Every single employee there knows. the methadone withdrawals. And then they don't share this information with you. They don't tell you about it. They don't warn you. They don't educate you. Nothing. Crazy, right? You better think twice if you're going to go there, honestly, because it will set you up for big-time disappointment and failure. And they will make you critical. I know that's a little extreme, but it's true. Anyway, so I left messages. I didn't even get a phone call till like a week and a half after, before I started tapering down. I was begging them, I need to get off this stuff. I need someone to call me ASAP. I want to get off methadone. I know the side effects. You never told me anything. Why hasn't anybody told me this? How many other people don't know this? I can't even imagine all this. Because he's growing, by the way. His business is getting so big that they're moving from Oakley Seaver Drive to a fancier facility because he has grown. His business is growing at the expense. And I'm sorry, I can say this, at the expense of my health, at the expense of your health, at the expense of all the other people he has there, who God knows who else he has on this medicine and what he's doing to other people. So I'm keeping it real. I don't care. People should know this, you know? So anyway, I end up going to go visit him because I figured we need to talk about this. We need to lay out a plan to help me get through the rest of the days because I didn't know if it gets worse or how long it's going to last. And to my surprise, I thought he would be a little happy for me that I was able to get through a little bit of the hurdle, but he was far from that. I went in, he sat down, we spoke. He was very nonchalant, kind of like with an attitude. And he was just like, and the first question that came out of his mouth was like, he looked at me, he kind of leaned back, and he's like, because he's a little cocky. You'll have to meet him, but he's a little cocky. I mean, he's young, so young physicians are cocky. I don't even know why they get in the field. If you don't have a humble heart and a calling to be a doctor and really want to genuinely help people, stay out of the medical field. Don't go to be a doctor. It boggles my mind when people do that. It's just terrible. We have enough bad people. We need good doctors, good nurses, and good people working in the medical field. But anyway, the first question he asked me was like, real serious. He's like, so why'd you get off the medicine? Like almost angry. And I was like, I looked at him shocked, like, well, I was sick. Like, I'm going to school. I said, Dr. Paez, I go to school and I want to do research. I need to find out why I haven't been getting better in the last 2 years and why my health is getting worse. Because in 2 years, my stuff dwindled even more. I was going to say a bad word. Sorry. God forgive me. But anyway, so yeah, I was getting worse. And so I did my research, I told him, and I said, and this stuff is killing me. Like, don't you know the side effects? And he was like, he didn't say nothing. He was like, really, honestly, he was mad. And he's like, so, okay, so you stopped taking the medicine. And I said, yeah, it's been, when I went to see him, it was day 3 or 4. And he was like, so I said, yeah, I stopped taking it. He goes, so then you don't need my services. Just like that. And I was like, okay, yeah, I don't need to be on methadone anymore. Absolutely. I don't want to be on the medicine anymore. And I don't need any more scripts for it. I want to be done with that. And he was like, okay, so what do you want me to do for you? Just like that. What do you want me to do for you? I'm like, okay, so let's talk about this because I didn't know that it was this bad. And I went through a lot. I suffered. So what am I to expect the next couple of days? Like, how long will this last? How long will the withdrawals last? What can I do to make it easier on me? And he literally, like, washed his hands with me and was like, oh, you day 4, you're good. It only gets better from here. And I was like, wow, am I really hearing this from my doctor? Like, it really made me think, like, why is he so mad? Again, I feel like he was capitalizing off of my health. What other reason would you be so mad? I mean, you, of all people, the physician who went to school for how many years? You know what methadone does. You know the side effects. Why are you giving this out to people? Okay, put that aside. Why are you not explaining to people? It is my right as a patient to know this. It's your right to know this. But he's not explaining those things. Nobody's, not even his assistant, Lori, never told me. Dr. Saranita, I met with her once or twice, never explained anything to me. His staff never explained anything to me. I was strictly given my script and bye-bye. And mind you, Medicare is being raped, by the way. Every time I went to visit him, my fee was almost $200 and some. In addition, I paid 20%. We never talked. It was just, hey, how are you? All right, let me get your script. All that just to get a script. You tell me if he's not capitalizing. Think about that. We did not cover any of my symptoms. We didn't cover, hey, how's your RA? I didn't sit with Dr. Paez for no longer than 5 minutes. Without fail, for the entire 2 years that I went to go see him. We never really talked. The only time I sat with that man to talk to him was when I went with my daughters, because I had to go one day with them. He had a knee injury that he had, and he was in another room. And then we talked a little bit about his knee injury and how it happened. But that's it. Besides that, I never sat with this man no more than 5 minutes. And he gave me my script. $220 or for a script, a piece of paper, medication. You figured that out. You add it. You connect the dots. I don't think I even have to explain anymore. Anyway, the story is going to end now because this is the most fabulous part of the story. I asked him, I said, so how long is it going to last? He tells me, oh, maybe 3 or more days, total 8 days. It depends on your body, blah, blah, blah. I said, yeah, but I'm getting really terrible headaches, really bad. And I'm still having bad headaches. And it might be whatever that thing is that I have in the back. I need to go find out what that is. But it's really excruciating. But the Percocet helps with that for now. So anyway, he says my assistant's going to come in and she's going to explain to you what you can do from now on. But we're done. You don't have to come see me no more. And I was just really upset. But even though I was upset, I really felt like God was downloading a lot of things to me and kind of showing me what the enemy's plan was, which was to keep me on this drug and really, honestly, kill me one day. It's that real. I know it sounds dramatic, but it's that real. I would have ended up dead. Probably my kids would have been my husband would be without me, and he would one day be with the kids by himself, because I don't think your body only gets worse. It deteriorates. So that's what that would have brought me. Anyway, the assistant comes in and she ends. I just think this is priceless right here, what I'm about to show you, because it's just crazy. She comes in and says, oh, Mrs. Rodriguez, well, I have some information for you. And she starts to show me these papers, and she tells me, she says, well, Dr. Paez wants you to go out and look into this medication here. I'm sorry, it's not a medication, it's a vitamin. And it's called Tromil. I don't know how to pronounce it. Anyway, it's an all-natural pain reliever. Yep, you heard me right. Proven safe and effective for muscle pain. I have RA. It's one of the main issues with RA. Joint pain. Come on, joint pain. Are you serious right now? Sport injuries, bruises, and more. All natural. And guess who takes this religiously? Dr. Paez takes this religiously. He's been on this for years. How disheartening is that? He's been on this for years. All right, I'm giving that, and I'm giving a detox diet on foods. I guess the way this works is that this is for 24 hours after you stop taking. After 24 hours, you may eat any of the following. Actually, I don't even know if this is, it has to be something to do with detox. It said detox on it, so it doesn't specifically say methadone, but it is definitely foods that you can take. And just to mention a few, papaya, shredded apples, raw oats, raw flakes, juice of an orange or a tangerine, potato soup, vegetable soup, steamed or raw vegetables, salads. So basically, vegetables, protein. Really? Dr. Paez? Really? This really angers me. You don't even know. And the last one was perfect because these are foods that can help lessen your symptoms for rheumatoid arthritis and fibromyalgia and any muscle joints and pain. Isn't it shocking? I hope you're shocked as I'm shocked, because this was what he should have given me from day one, that he did not give me until the day he found out that I personally took the leap and decided not to be on this poison that he has people on. Okay? I should have been given this the day that I asked for this on multiple occasions, not specifically this. I asked for natural ways, and he didn't give me any of it. Again, I think there's a lot of money motivation here with this, and then because I cannot figure out why else he would do that. I'm not a paraplegic. I don't have MS. I'm not yes, I have RA, I understand that, but this would have worked too. And anyway, in the end, this is God's way. This is what God had for me. And I love it. And if I can be a little religious right now and a little transparent, this is what God had planned for me. It's funny how the enemy has one plan, but in the end, you always end up with God's plan if you believe and you're faithful. And that's what I ended up with, God's plan. So I'm going to do all this and do the healthy things and keep my journey with God and a healthy journey and all that stuff. and hopefully this is going to get better. I mean, to be honest, I still don't feel better. It could have been worse, though. I'm not going to say that. I'm grateful and thankful to God that it didn't get worse, and it could have been. And I'm still suffering with pain. I still don't sleep at night. I still have the whole body syndrome thing going on. But I have an autoimmune disease. So see, somebody like me that has an autoimmune disease, a regular person could kick this maybe in 8 days. But somebody like me that has fibromyalgia, has a lot of other health issues going on, I've always been one that can catch, because with autoimmune diseases, you're open to everything. You can get things, and it lasts longer. So I'm not speaking that out into the atmosphere, but it's the reality of my illness, my disease. So I might have a week or more to go, maybe. I still have a lot of my medication, thank God. Like my bottles, I don't know, I was going to show it, but my bottle's completely full. I must have at least, I don't know, maybe over 60 to 80 Percocets, plus a prescription they gave me at the hospital. So I don't want to take that. And honestly, I don't even know if that's even the right answer to this. I just know it helps with the pain, and I know that I can kick Percocet like that. I can, because I have done it. When I had my tonsillectomy, that was really rough too. You couldn't eat, so I had to take that for 2 weeks. And after 2 weeks, I completely stopped, and I was fine. I didn't have no withdrawal, nothing. Methadone listen, methadone is deadly. It's poison. It's toxin. Don't take it. Whatever you do not take it. Don't even start. Now, if you're coming off of heroin, it's not even recommended. Even though they're giving it to you, it's even worse, because you'll be more addicted to the methadone than you ever were to the heroin, and it's going to be harder for you to kick it. So if you were an addict and you've been doing heroin and all that stuff, which I have no idea what that's like, and I'm sorry, and I pray for you. Inbox me. I will pray for you. I don't know you, but I'll pray for you, that God helps you with that. So if you're on that, I will lift you in prayer. I keep saying that because it's so important, but I don't know. I just know that there's other ways to get away from this stuff, and methadone's not the answer. It's going to keep you hooked even more, and then you'll never kick the habit. But that's what I'm saying. You need to be grounded. You need a good foundation. You need family support. You need to believe in Jesus. You need to pray. You need to read your Bible. And you need friends, good friends that don't do drugs, friends that don't have addictions. That's the way to get over this stuff. And stay away from doctors that are going to give it to you. There you go. It's that easy. So anyway, I'm going to end here. It's a long video. I'm sorry, but I just felt like you really needed to know these things to kind of help. And I'm not, again, it might sound like I'm bashing South Lake Pain Institute, but I'm just keeping it real. That was my experience, and I'm sure I'm not the only one that is experiencing that there. And he shouldn't be in business, is my personal opinion. But I'm going to take my healthy diet, and I'm going to make another video. And when I'm past my withdrawal, I'll keep you guys updated and kind of tell you what that was like. And I'll also talk about how long it took me, because there are people that suffer from the same condition I have, and it might help somebody. I don't know. So anyway, God bless you. Thanks for listening. If you haven't subscribed and you want to, just click the subscribe button, and I will write you if you write me. So if you have any questions, anything, somebody wrote me just today and asked me to pray for them, and I did. So, and I'm communicating with them. So please, we're here to help one another. So I don't know you, but somehow in the virtual world, social media, we can maybe do something for each other. So, all right, God bless you. Bye. Be safe and stay off these crazy opiates, because they will kill you. Bye. Much love.